All right, now y'all know I really like y'all because I recorded this whole video and it didn't record. It didn't record my screen. Oh man. All right, but I'm gonna run it back anyway. I think I got it figured out. I think I got it fixed, right? So I know there have been a few people in a group where one of your primary concerns is around just money, which was mine when I began too, and so it's something that I want to talk about. So outside of like business credit, things like that that people are using to finance properties, I wanted to give you guys something a little more creative. Now, this will require work. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, it will require work. So if you don't want to work, just stop right here. If you just, I don't know how to do it without work, right? So the thing is that believe it or not, there are people out here that have money that they would love to invest in real estate or do real estate with, but they don't necessarily have the time, the desire, or the know-how to renovate properties, right? And so that was a big part of me creating this group. I wanted to, give people an opportunity that want to invest in real estate, a way to learn about renovating houses, so that way when you guys are ready to do a property, you feel more comfortable doing the renovations and things as far as that goes. But also, if you need to go out and raise money or do something like that, you are prepared to have those conversations. What I find is that once a lot of people realize they may want to get into real estate and they don't have the money or they don't have the credit, then they stop learning right there, right? So don't let that stop you from being prepared for the opportunity, because if someone was to present you the opportunity tomorrow and they're like, I got all the money you need to renovate houses, and you're like, well, it is something that I want to do, and they're like, well, who's going to do the work for you? Oh, I'm not sure. Where do you want to invest at? Oh, I don't know. I'm not really certain. Who's going to sell a property for you? I don't know. It's like, even if the opportunity presents itself, like, you have to be prepared. Like, you have to be prepared to be someone worthy of the opportunity. So don't let like one thing stop you from the other. So while you are in this free group, um, take advantage of the opportunity, take advantage of the resources, ask questions, learn. Like, that is the whole point of it. Like, don't wait until the opportunity presents itself to learn, because then it's too late. Opportunity's gone. You know what I mean? They went on to somebody who already did the preparation, so that when they are ready, you know, the person is ready, or you need to be ready. So this are just a few slides from a presentation from my paid group, and I decided to use these slides because it's still the same thing, right? This is a part of the discussion that I had with them, and so I just took a few of the slides from there to kind of talk you guys through, um, you know, how you can leverage your time and effort against someone else's money, and y'all two come together and create a partnership. All right. So 50-50 partnerships, right? But before we jump into 50-50 partnerships, I got to first start with covering another type of partnership to make it all come together. So y'all just stick with me, follow me, follow me. It's all going to make sense, right? So real quick, a debt partner is someone who invests a specific amount of money for a specific period of time for a specific return. So let me give you an example. John comes to me. John has $40,000 that he's willing to invest for 1 year, and he's willing to take 12% return for his money for 1 year, right? That is what I would call a debt partner. They come to me with a specific amount of money, an amount of time they're willing to lend it for, and a specific amount of interest they want to get for the money that they're lending, right? Um, Now, some of the pros of that is it's a way to fund deals, right? So let's just say I want to go to a hard money lender, and if I don't have the capital to use, but let's say I have the credit, the hard money lender is willing to give me the loan, but I need the money to get into the loan. This could be one way for me to do that, right? I use their money to jump into the deal. Another pro of it is, just a good way to purchase additional properties, which is kind of, similar in the same thing. But let's just say again, I need money to purchase a property, and I use their money towards purchasing the property. And then another pro is that you can do that without giving up equity in the deal, meaning you're not giving up a percentage of the property that you own to someone else for the money that they're investing. You're just giving them a return of interest on the money that they're lending you, right? All right. Cons. It can be expensive depending on what you offer. Obviously, the more you, let's say, the more you may need the money. Let's say you have a home run deal. You could make, $60,000, $70,000 on that deal. But you need $30,000 to borrow. It's like you may be willing to pay someone a really good interest rate on that because you're like, hey, I got this good deal where I can make 60, 70,000, and all I need, is 30,000 from someone to do it. So you would want to make that attractive because you have a deal that is good. And you're like, hey, I'll pay you well for it, right? Another con just can be the exit, the time of the exit. Like, let's just say they let you borrow that money for a year. You do a house in 6-7 months, then you find another one. And then it's like when that year is up, it's kind of like you're in between selling properties. So you got to, work it out with them or figure out a way to get them their money back when their length of time is up that they lent you the money for, right? So again, that's a debt partner. Follow me on that. Just stick with me. I got y'all. So you'll usually make that agreement with like a promissory note or just a document that shows how much they invested, again, the agreed upon interest rate that you'll be paying them, and the amount of time of the loan, the three things that we talked about in the previous slide, right? Now, an equity partner is someone who invests a portion of the money that's needed for a deal in return for a percentage of the profit or a percentage of the ownership, right? So usually, let's just say in this case, an equity partner is somebody who doesn't have enough money to fund the whole purchase and the renovation. They just have enough to give you some of it, right? So again, let's use $40,000. They invest $40,000 to fund closing and for startup costs for the loan. In return, they're given 50% of the profits, right? Now, a pro to that is it's a great way to buy properties without using your own money, which can also be said about a debt partner, right? But it is a pro that is in common between both of them. A great way to buy properties without using your capital. And it also can be a way to purchase properties without using your credit. And that comes into play, let's just say, you are strong with the work, like somebody is confident that you can finish the job, but you don't really have good credit, a steady job. Let's say you're an entrepreneur. So on paper, you don't really have good credit or like stable income. And then let's say you don't have good credit and then you don't have the capital, right? So you don't have either one of those. And the lender's like, I love that you could do the work. I believe that you can renovate the property, but on paper, you just don't have what I'm looking for, right? And you're like, oh, I have this partner, and they are, giving me the money to do the deal, and also we have an LLC together, and operating agreement where we are, which I can talk about more at another date, but where we're partners, right? I have a partner in this, and they're willing to obviously sign and be a part of the loan as well. Right, so that allows you to one, either get into the deal where you sign and kind of like you're on the loan, but they're not looking at you to make the decision whether to lend or not. Or, it's a situation where they're like, hey, we want to just kind of leave you off the loan completely, and your partner sign, and then, you guys kind of work it out how you will with your paperwork on the back end to make sure you are a part of the property, right? So either of those could happen, but again, it's just a way to allow you to purchase a property without your credit being the reason that a deal is approved or isn't approved or funded or not funded, right? If they give you a loan, they don't give you a loan. It's not on your credit. It can be on the person who you partner with. Now, if you just had a debt partner, obviously that person wouldn't be signing for any loans or anything like that because they don't own the property. They're just lending you money so that you can go out and do properties, right? One of the cons is obviously giving up a percentage of the profit because in this case you are giving them 50% of the profit. So that's definitely a con. And another con is, yeah, this shit is happening to me. Um, Having someone else's input. So to me, that's a big one. Like I've turned down people's investment because I don't know how I can say this. Like it's just hard when two people kind of have like an opinion about how to do the same thing, right? So it's like if I want to go into a house, I'm like, all right, we're gonna renovate it and do this and do that, and then you come in and you're like, oh, well, I think that we could just paint these cabinets. It can be like, just keep butting heads. Like your idea is one, their idea is another. I mean, if y'all can come together and it just works, like they give feedback, you give feedback, and y'all, then it works as well. But I just find that, for me in those situations where I have somebody who wants to be like overly involved, it's normally a situation where we keep butting heads. Like they want to do one thing, I want to do another. And so I work best with people that want to be hands off. Like if I was doing an equity partnership, I just want people to just want to get a profit. They don't want to manage the construction. Like let me earn my keep by doing that part of it. You just stay out of here and let me deal with that, right? So that is definitely a con. All right, now to fully bring all this back around, I don't want to make this video too long, but to bring this back around as to why someone will be willing to, work with someone who, like you, may be new or newer versus someone like me who's been in the business for a while and has done more. It comes down to just numbers, right? Because all of this is about risk. The more risky something is, the more people want to get paid for it. The less risky, the less they expect to get paid for it. You know what I mean? It's like people put their money in the bank and they don't expect to make much on it because they see the bank is like, all right, if I put $100 in here today, I'll be able to come get $100 tomorrow, right? So it's like people don't see it as a lot of risk with their money being in, so they don't look for much there, right? Or a government investment. It's like it'll pay fair, but it's not paying the same as an investment that would be viewed as more risky. So that is the key when it comes to getting started in this business from this angle, at least, and not having like the cash or the credit. Because you're willing to give someone a percentage of the equity, and depending on how good the deal is, the equity could be a lot more than what somebody who is just giving them interest on their money would give them. It is enticing to them to take the chance and risk it for someone who's giving them equity on a good deal. As long as, and I'm going to keep coming back to this, as long as they feel like you are capable of finishing the project. So if they feel like you're not capable of doing what you say that you're going to do, then you're going to have a hard time with getting the money from people. That means you have to put in the work ahead of time before you go even beginning to ask people about borrowing money and being a partner and all this stuff. You want to make sure that you talk like somebody who has put in time, energy, and effort into being prepared for that, to be able to actually do what you say you're going to do. All right, so let me just break this down real quick, and I'm in this video. Sometimes I'm just yapping. All right, so to understand more why 50-50 can be more desired, like let's look at an example. Let's just say John has 40 grand, right? He has 1 year where he's like, I can put this money up for 1 year and I don't really need it back. Like, just, what kind of offer can you give me? So if John goes to a seasoned investor and says, hey, I have 40 grand, I can put it up for a year, what would you give me? Most investors are going to be like, all right, well, I can give you, let's say in this example, 12% for your money for 1 year, right? So John gives that seasoned investor 40 grand and he gives it to him at 12%. At the end of the year, John gets 4,800 back, right? So he gets his $40,000 initial investment plus an additional $4,800 back, right? Now, if John goes to somebody who, let's say like you, is maybe newer, and you're like, all right, John's like, hey, I got 40 grand. You're like, hey, all right, John, we can take this 40 grand. buy a property. We can go get, a hard money loan. And, you know, I know that I want to invest in Northeast Baltimore, and we can get a property there, and we should be able to at least make, 30 grand on it, and we can get in and out of it in 6 months, right? I've done my research. I know who's going to sell this property there. And I have a team of contractors that are ready to go. My contractor has his MHIC. He's licensed. He's done over 50 flips. He's been in the business for 20 years. I got everything lined up, John. I even know who can lend us the money. The only thing I'm missing is the money to do the project. Everything else I can take care of. That's kind of like your approach. And John was like, all right, well, you think we can make 30 grand? Yeah, 30 grand in 6 months. And then, if it goes well and you open to it, we can just jump right into another property. We can try to do 2 properties before the year is over. And that way you can, if we make 15 on that one, 15 on the other one, you made 30 grand on your 40 grand. So John's like, shit, damn, I could put up 40 grand. And if everything goes right, make 30 or at least 15. So that, as you can see from the numbers, is just a lot more enticing. So instead of making 12% on his money, he can make 37.5% or 75% or more, because you maybe make more than 15 a piece. It just depends on the property. So the upside can be substantial, which is why, a lot of people would be willing to risk a little more as far as working with someone who's new, as long as they feel like you can get through the deal the way you said you would. Because most guys who are seasoned are only really going to want to give you an interest return on your money. Right now, before I wrap this up, I will say this, like, the downside of it is, let's say y'all get in there, y'all don't make much money. Y'all make, 15 grand or something. It's like they come out, or 10 grand, they come out with the same interest that they could have made elsewhere, just lending it as debt could happen. It's not impossible, right? But the thing is that, like, some people may want you to kind of like sign a promissory note or do something like that, even if they are equity. I've had somebody ask me to do that before, and I did it, but it wasn't something I really, necessarily agreed with. I just went forward with it because I was confident in my ability to do the deal and get the deal sold. But what I didn't like about it is that, essentially that promissory note is saying I owe them this amount of money. So let's just say we do this deal and it doesn't go as I planned. We end up losing some money. Then I'm responsible for paying them back on that initial investment. But in my mind, I feel like, hey, if we are going in a partnership together, if we make 100 grand, then I'm still gonna give you 50. So, if we lose some money, I feel like if anything, we should equally split that loss, right? So that's something that you can negotiate with people, but some people will want some kind of assurance on the money that they are putting into the deal. And then it's up to you if you feel comfortable with that or if you don't. Like, do you want to, give them a promissory note and give them equity? Or do you want to say, hey, if for some reason, it doesn't work out, I'll feel comfortable giving you a promissory note for half of, or paying you for whatever half it is of what we lose, or however you choose to do that, right? So just be mindful of that. But, that also can be used as a way to kind of maybe push somebody who is on the fence, or they're not really sure if they want to do it because they don't want to deal with the downside of it. You could always kind of like protect their loss some by offering them something that would put you on the hook for what it is that they are investing. So I hope this video records, because again, this is my second time doing this. I don't want to do it again, but I know you guys asked me for it. I hope that it's helpful. Any questions you have, anything like that, just make sure you drop them in the comments and I'll be sure to answer. And that's it. Take care.